Hey guys, so Katrina and I just saw an early screening for DCEU's Aquaman. Starring Jason Momoa. And we have a lot to say on it.
So much. I have my mind is racing. I have 100 things going at once. Alright, so we're getting ready to do a spoiler-free review, okay? No spoils. Keep it concise.
So you guys are good to hang around for now.
It's safe.
Yeah.
For now. Not for long.
So the movie is fun.
A lot of fun. There's a lot of moments where I laughed out loud.
Jason Momoa is so great in this. Yeah. Nicole Kidman, her role is so fun, and right off the bat you're like, yeah?
Super cool. She is tough and she knows what she's doing.
Patrick Wilson?
Yep.
I like him as an actor in general. He's very kind of subdued but very diverse in his roles.
I never really expected to see him, I guess, in this type of role. I don't know why that kind of was a little surprising for me.
I've seen him in Insidious, and that's where we get to see a little bit of that darker version of him, which is kind of weird to see, but I think he plays villainy pretty well. And there was a lot of characters in this movie. The first half for me was a lot more intriguing and interesting than the second half, without saying anything.
I would say, because I felt like the first half was setting it up for something.
Easier for them to be successful at it at the very beginning because there was so much set up. And so we're like, cool, this is going somewhere.
All right.
Can't wait to see where it goes.
And then it was interesting to see where it went.
Yeah, it was like, oh, okay, but in many ways it was a good movie. It was also not a good movie because dialogue, without saying anything.
Writing is such a huge thing.
I thought the majority of the actors in this movie I thought were fantastic.
I don't really know Aquaman's.
I'm not a huge DC fan myself, so we're both kind of clueless here on that, but
I have heard of his origin. I have heard stories and small things here and there, but I don't know it well enough. There were definitely, you could tell in the theater with us, there were people who were hardcore DC fans and hardcore Aquaman fans because the reactions they were giving, I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
I was like,
this must be really cool for someone who cherishes this story.
Sure. Would I say it's better than Wonder Woman? No, because Wonder Woman feels more grounded, which is surprising. Especially with the ending of that movie.
Yeah.
But this movie is the most visually stunning DCEU movie to date.
Especially in the real D. And it was a very colorful movie. And it was just so bright and in your face, but not too much where you felt...
There was so much movie happening with this movie. There's disaster movie mixed in with this. There's Little Mermaid. We had a little bit of Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider, and then there was moments of
some romancy type.
They throw a lot of characters at you. They throw a lot of conflict at you. They throw...
Sometimes keeping it simple can be better for the story and can also set you up for more in the future if you keep that first one simple. But I really do feel like hardcore DC fans are gonna...
It was a good movie. I thought it was entertaining. It was fun. It was the most fun.
Jason Momoa was... I had so much fun watching him have fun with the part. He was having a blast.
He's great. Actually, Amber Heard is pretty good in the movie too, for the most part. I thought it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was necessarily a great movie.
Spoilers!
And now, guys, you are being warned. You have only a short little window of time here before it is too late. This is our spoiler-filled review, and it starts right now. The movie sets us up, like I said, to feel like this is going somewhere. The whole first half of the movie was written by a completely different screenwriter for some reason to me.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, ooh, intrigue, ooh, it's mystery.
We're gonna let our actors kind of like open up these characters.
And the first major dialogue redundancy I noticed, and I'm sure there was more than that, it was after William Dafoe's character says to young Jason Momoa, basically, says to Arthur that the mother is basically been murdered because of her having a child with the people of the land.
Human, yeah.
So then he repeats it and says, "Are you telling me that my mother was executed because she had me?" And we're like, yeah, he just said
William
that.
Dafoe literally just like gave you that exact line.
They introduce this son and father who are pirates who take over and murder people on these subs for the military, I guess. They kill everybody.
And they kill everybody. And when he takes off his mask, the way they, like
it's a big reveal.
Like, we were supposed to know who he was. And I remember just, like, sitting there going, what the hell is that? I was like,
no clue. Aquaman basically has a chance to save
this father-son we were talking about,
these father-son pirates. And instead he's like, we'll let the sea judge you. And it's like, what? He ultimately, of these two pirates, the one pirate ended up ultimately becoming Black Manta.
Yeah.
Everything about his character was forced. His father's death was forced.
So written in there of like, we're writing this in to make it another problem.
Yes.
Blah.
And it sure was.
And it was very obvious. Like, that's exactly, it was like exactly what it felt like.
Suddenly we see him again, and he's having some kind of
he's in cahoots with the King Orm.
That King Orm is like kind of annoyed with Aquaman at this point. And then Black Manta guy, who's before he even becomes Black Manta, he's like, I just want to kill him, okay? Then he comes back to Black Manta and is like, here's some armor and some soldiers.
You failed last time. Basically, you failed last time because you didn't have the right equipment. So we're just gonna hand you this Atlantis.
And these soldiers.
Yeah.
To kill him. And we'll reward you. And he's like, I don't care about the reward.
Just want to kill Aquaman.
And we're like, we got it. You made it clear.
He literally probably said that like 5 times.
Yeah.
And then that was a moment in the theater where like he was making this costume base or this weapon or whatever the heck it was, and he like spray painted it black, and it was like a huge moment for the huge DC fans in the crowd, because I could hear people be like,
oh, they were so excited.
Oh my god, name drop.
And I was like, but guys, is this really how you want this big villain like reveal
to be delivered?
Just because he's in the movie doesn't make him or good or anything. He's not the main villain of this movie.
Not at all.
There's like 40 main villains of this movie. The relationship between Mira and Arthur was nice, I guess.
So hard.
It worked, but there's this like forced romantic relationship between them.
It's all about the thing being like, it's all about it being forced. I don't know why it has to be this thing of like guy and girl.
It doesn't happen naturally.
No,
it's just
moments where they're like,
oh, you held my hand for a second. Now I'm in love with you. Wait, what?
What? You don't have time for this.
This could have been several Aquaman movies. Easily. There's even a post-credit scene where we see Black Manta again. It would have been a sufficient post-credit scene if we just see him being saved. But no, we see him being saved. We see him wake up, and you see him, you know, throw this, knife or whatever at Aquaman.
It's like the silhouette of who is Aquaman.
Yeah.
I love movies for the soundtracks. I love a good soundtrack.
This needed to be said.
It was so bad. Even the music felt forced. Like, there were moments where they were like, now we've got this little ringy music so you know something's coming. It was just like, okay.
It was comedic at moments whenever you'd see
Aquaman.
I know you're going. And he would go, and then you'd hear a boom, boom, and he'd just turn and he'd give him a look like
another one.
So now that's the negative. Now let's just throw on our positives before we close this out.
Positive notes. I love Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa is so funny, so charming. There's actually only good dialogue from Jason Momoa.
Even moments of dialogue that Jason Momoa had that were cheesy or weak, or he still made it. Like, he still took those lines and made it something.
Yeah, I actually really loved William Dafoe in this movie because it's different than what a lot of the roles he's been playing.
You normally see him as.
Yeah, because William Dafoe isn't always just this evil character.
No.
Sometimes he actually plays good really well.
Yes.
And he did in this movie. He was sort of like under the sea Alfred from Batman. His character does help move the story forward.
It does.
Dolph Lundgren. Well, what a surprise there. Yeah.
That was...
And he wasn't bad.
No, not bad. I was just so like, is that who I think it is? And then it was him, and I was like, huh.
He plays Mara's father in this movie. Yeah. And the one who played his dad was very charming and sweet and hard.
Simple.
Yeah.
And I don't mind simple.
And Amber Heard held her own. Like, I felt like she's played a lot of roles before where she had to be basically just this sex symbol. In this movie, she was kind of that, but she was more than that. She was sexy in a strong woman kind of way.
But there was more to her than just
And her
sex.
character has one of the coolest like moments in the movie where she manipulates bottles, the wine that's in bottles of wine.
It's like one of those like last moments of like, is she gonna get out? She's cornered, and then she's I'm surrounded.
And she just shoots these spikes of wine that end up melting after she shoots them.
It was crazy.
It was so cool.
It was really, really freaking cool. I loved that. I remember turning to Kyle and being, I loved the first fight we see with Jason Momoa. I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It had a really corny first line. It was like a very corny first line. He drops into the submarine. Dramatic slow turn. And it was, may I come aboard ship or something like that. It was something.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's just the thing. I think a lot of people had these corny lines, but so many of them made it work.
Incredible.
And the movie moves. It feels like a long movie, but you also feel like there's always something going because they even jump scare you constantly in this movie.
Ask him. I jumped like 7 times.
You're like, oh, here's a moment where the plot has progressed, and then
oh my god, and then I'd be.
So if you want to see a lot of movie this weekend, go see Aquaman. If you want to see good lines, maybe go to Mary Poppins.
Not Mortal Engines. And if you're a huge DC fan,
go see this
because I could feel the DC fans in the crowd. I could feel their happiness. I could feel their energy, and their they were having a blast. Yeah, there is one cool little shot that they do where they slow-mo it right at the moment so you get more of a still frame image, and it's that iconic look of Aquaman coming out of the water with his trident up in the air. Yeah.
And I get why people geeked out to that, because if you are truly a fan of this,
it's a very classic, like.
So fun, not the best written, but fun.
But fun. Verbally laughed out loud.
Yeah.
You know?
I have DCU fans that could go see these movies too, guys. I just decided to choose also a fellow MCU lover, right? Just so sorry.
So as far as a fan theory goes...
Yeah, I think there's going to be a sequel to this.
Absolutely.
I mean, they set it up for it, and this movie was fun enough and entertaining enough that there's no way it's not going to make money at the movies.
It'll make money.
And I think the sequel is obviously going to at least start with Black Manta, unless some director decides we're just going to nix that all together, which would also be fine.
Really? You would be okay with that?
I mean, it would be annoying that they wasted our time with this whole setup.
That's what I would be annoyed with, is that
but sometimes, you know, it's one of those, you know, rules, those laws of diminishing return. Sometimes it's like, you know, this is probably not a good route. Maybe we'll just go in someplace that works better. But we'll see what happens. I do think that he's going to at least be in the sequel. I will go see it.
I would see it just for Jason Momoa alone again. I enjoyed him as Aquaman. He was great.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
So I've seen all the Transformer movies, and I have a lot to say on this one.
Yeah, we just saw Bumblebee, and it was really good, and we're going to review it. Hey guys, so we're going to start with our spoiler-free review. So what did you think of Bumblebee?
It was definitely different from the other Transformer movies in many ways.
Yeah, it's an origin story.
Yeah, in a sense it is.
Yeah.
Even though we've already sort of had that in the other movies. But this one was sort of a prequel, but it was also kind of a standalone film. Graphically speaking, in many ways, it feels like all the rest of them. So you can tell that Michael Bay at least had some touch of this.
Yeah, he was a producer, I think. On
yeah, but the director was a good choice.
Yeah.
Apparently he's director.
Travis Knight. I think he did Kubo and the Two Strings.
I do think that this movie was mostly a positive. I'm not going to say much about it.
Yes,
but
I really enjoyed it, and I think even I don't really know everything about the Transformers world, but I think it's just a standalone, enjoyable movie. It's entertaining.
The characters were well developed. The story was actually a story.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It wasn't just, hey, here's another excuse for robots to come attack us.
Yeah, and I think all the characters were quite well developed.
Not just the human characters, but the robot characters actually had very well developed storylines.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, especially Bumblebee.
Well, especially.
Bumblebee, but
there was just such good character development throughout this whole film.
Yeah, I thought the cast did a great job.
Oh, yeah.
The music was excellent.
I was really confused why Haley Steinfeld would do this, but now I understand.
Yeah, I get, because the story was just, it's really great.
The humor in this also, without giving away anything. Yeah.
Really funny, and the music meshed well with
and the music was fantastic.
So everything just like meshed together really well to make it just, it was really enjoyable. But it is set in the 80s. So there's a lot of like good nostalgic things to see,
including the fashion and the cars.
Yeah, it was just really
just general references and stuff. So overall, I would give it a good solid B+ minimum. I think.
Yeah, B+ minimum. I mean, I liked it. I'd give it like an A.
Yeah. So I would say go see it for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Which is weird because I never thought I would say go see Transformers.
Yes.
So now that we've done our spoiler-free review, we're gonna dive into our spoiler-filled review.
Yes.
So if you guys want to step out, get yourself a drink, change it to something else, check out this link above my head and watch something else on our channel. Now's the time to do it because we're about to spoil it up in here. And to be honest with you, if you like spoilers, you're going to love it. In 3, 2, 1.
Now.
So, let's start with the negatives.
Okay. There weren't that many.
There weren't. No. I would say that to start off with, on Cybertron, which is where the movie starts, which I did think was a positive, but we're going to get back to that. I thought that it was weird that the Transformers on the planet all transformed into Earth-based vehicles. Even though, according to that movie, at that point, they had never been to Earth. Optimus Prime tells Bumblebee to go to Earth to
protect the Autobots,
to give them salvation because Cybertron has been overrun. By the Decepticons. The Autobots or the Decepticons don't call Bumblebee Bumblebee.
He's B127.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
I think that's correct.
So that's his name, B127, I think. We think.
Which is actually kind of a nice touch that, because this is an origin story, like how he got his name was through his interaction with the girl, Charlie Watson.
Yeah.
She names him Bumblebee.
Which was a positive. So anyway, what's your next negative?
So my only negative that I can think of is that when Charlie first discovers, or Bumblebee reveals himself to Charlie Watson in her garage when she's trying to fix him up, and Charlie finds out that Bumblebee is an Autobot, she seems kind of, to me, a little bit nonchalant about it. Any person who just encounters an alien robot race would kind of like maybe scream a little bit, or like just be like a little bit more scared.
The thing that bothered me, at least at first, until later on something changed it, was when she reveals that she just turned 18. And I was like, you know, that number in particular is like erotic fantasy to most men. And I'm like, oh, so Bay had to get that one bit in there or something. Yeah. But then, later on in the movie, they justify it by explaining that she is going to move out soon, so she won't be meeting her parents, which technically works with the story and isn't just a cheat.
She had like kind of she was going through things with her family, didn't really like the new father. You know, and had some anger towards her mother.
She had
something
made sense, to add fuel to the fire by saying, well, you won't have to deal with me for much longer.
She wanted to move out.
So that's literally all we have for negatives in this movie. There's so many positives.
Yeah, so many positives.
To start with, I love that in this movie, right at the beginning, we first get to hear B-127 or
his voice.
We get to hear Bumblebee's voice. Yeah, you get to hear
Bumblebee's voice, and that was a great to hear. You're like, oh.
But then we get to see Starscream, I believe it's Starscream, or a form of Starscream, or someone similar to Starscream, come in and rip his vocal, vocal cords or whatever you want to call them, out of his system because he says, "I'll never talk," and he goes, let's ensure that.
Yeah.
And it was just cool.
Right, but then Bumblebee kind of has enough strength to get up, right? And he slowly crawls to a lake and then transforms into what his main form in the movie is the yellow beetle. I was thinking, if he has enough energy, I mean, like, he's an Autobot, he's like super strong. I'm like, why don't you go get your voice box back? Just climb up the mountain and get your voice box back.
Scan for it and get it.
Right? Yeah. Like, scan for your voice box and get it. So that was that thought that I had. I was like, but then I was like, maybe they're like, okay, but he's so tired and weak that he can't go up the mountain.
An easy fix for that would have simply been
like it crushed it, right? But he didn't. It didn't show in the movie that he crushed it. He just ripped it out and tossed it. That's why I was like, get the voice box. Get the voice box. And then there would be no movie.
I think right off the bat, the movie in general has very nice visual storytelling. It doesn't rely on narration like the other ones always do. This is all visual storytelling, like subtle things. Like, for example, we knew that Haley Steinfeld's father, Haley, who plays Charlie, we knew that her dad was dead within moments of meeting her when she says, "Good morning, Dad." When she looks at a picture frame, and you're like, oh,
her dresser mirror.
We know.
Yeah, we already know.
He's dead. Yeah. And they didn't have to say anything. It was great.
That's true.
Okay, let's get into the 80s references.
Oh gosh, that was so fun.
So many. I don't know what you have, if you have any.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah, there was Tab on the table.
Soda. Hot dog on a stick.
Ronald Reagan was in a picture frame in the military.
Ronald Reagan in a picture
there was Mr. T cereal.
Oh, I missed that one, but now that you mentioned that one.
Cassette
tapes.
Yeah, and she kept referencing the Smiths.
The Smiths, and they're brand new.
Right. Her uncle says something about how Russia's just gonna bomb them soon anyway.
Like Cold War.
Yeah.
That's funny. I also enjoyed the creation of the internet. In this film.
And before we get to that, Miami Vice was also thrown in.
Oh yeah, that's right, Miami Vice.
Yeah, the creation. So going forward. Reversal of that. So while they made references to the 80s, they also made references to the present day.
How the internet was created.
Which was hilarious.
That was a great moment.
Can you believe it? They're taking our satellites and creating this connection between all of them, and they're able to
there's all this information that somehow are
It's almost like a web.
That was great. So the Decepticons apparently created the internet.
Apparently.
Just apparently.
Apparently,
if you didn't know.
I also thought it was really cool, and this is just me speaking as a feminist, don't hate on me, y'all, but I liked that they did the reversal and made it a male objectification in this movie. Very, very briefly.
With the shirtless scene?
They did it twice, or 3 times, technically. It was all like male objectification instead of female objectification, so they had these younger guys taking their shirts off on the regular, which, of course, a lot of people don't get anything from. But it's just refreshing to see a movie try something actually different, especially a Transformers movie.
I thought what I really liked, I mean, kind of along the same lines, was the fact that Charlie Watson, her character, was the one in line with the strong female lead. She's the one initiating the physical contact.
Yes.
Right. So there's a kiss on the cheek, and then at the end of the scene. Her maybe boyfriend or maybe love interest, Memo.
Yeah, which
wants to hold
we're
her
all
hand.
like, is it really going here? Yeah. And then they go for the hand grab.
And then Charlie's like, no, not ready yet.
We're not there
So
yet.
That was a really nice moment because it was just like, yeah, if you're not ready for whatever it is, then cool. Like, then you can say it. And then also the guy was cool with it. So I think that was a really...
Yeah, it left it open. They could be boyfriend, girlfriend in the future, or they could just be friends.
But it was a really just... nice moment of, I mean, it's really like,
if nothing else, it's refreshing to see something new in a movie like that.
Yeah, that was never, I don't think I've seen that before.
Oh, I also really love, like we mentioned earlier, that she actually names him Bumblebee.
Yeah, that was a really cute touch.
Okay, so let's talk about the Decepticons.
Okay.
They arrive.
Yes.
There's only 2 of them, and outside of the Starscream cameo.
Yeah, so 3 technically.
Yeah.
Aside from outside of Cybertron.
But our main conflict in the movie isn't Megatron, isn't any of these other guys. Although on Cybertron they are a threat, but on Earth and the main story of this movie, it's all just these 2 Decepticons.
Yeah. Did you catch their names?
I also thought that was nice that they didn't have to say what their names were.
Yeah, I guess if you didn't.
They're not talking down the audience. If you want to know, look it up online.
Yeah, that's true.
But it was cool because it was very base level storyline, but you were totally scared crapless of these 2. And what was also cool is that the one who was more in charge was a female Decepticon, not the other one.
That's true. She was calling the shots. Yeah.
And so evil.
The writer is a female writer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think I saw in the credits.
There was straight up murder.
Yes.
They didn't just like blow up people and you see them in a distance.
Like in an explosion. You see them turn into goo.
Shoot humans and then they pop.
Yeah, they pop.
And then the one male Decepticon's like, I love to watch. I love it.
I love it when they pop or something.
I love it when they pop.
Yeah.
That's so
I don't
evil.
think we've seen Decepticons actually like
where you've seen some form of them killing humans, but it
like
was always like
stuff, never like a pop with a goo.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
I thought Bumblebee was so cute. He was like this big puppy.
Yeah, so the thing in the plot is that part of his memory is missing after he's wounded. And so he's kind of like, he doesn't fight because he doesn't know much about fighting. He can protect, but he doesn't know how to fight because that part of his brain is like shut down or whatever. So
it's fried. It got fried.
Yeah, so he's just this sweet little robot trying to not break things and try to be all sweet. And speaking of physical humor,
oh my god, he totally breaks everything.
He breaks everything in their house, and the references to the original cartoon, it's the most accurate. And then they got "You Got the Touch" in there briefly, which is the theme song basically of the Transformers story. The other thing is all of the human characters in this were human.
Yeah.
We still have some goofy characters a little bit with her mom and dad, or her stepdad and her mom.
But I think it was funny because they play it as you know, like the thing about comedy is comes
real.
From characters who don't think that they're trying to be funny. They're actually like think that this is a big deal or whatever.
Yeah, it's not forced, it's not over the top. They didn't have any of those one-liners. They were real people. That's what I loved about them. Like it wasn't like, ooh, yeah, I can't wait to beat some bots, or some weird thing that they have to throw in there, or like, ooh, is that Wolverine? Nah, that's totally Freddy Krueger. Nah, man, that's Wolverine. Like, that was in the original.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Okay. There were no stupid, cheesy lines. There were none of this nonsense that they threw in the originals. It was like genuine people that were, they were funny because they were smart and not because...
And they were just real people.
It was like Stranger Things kind of humor. It was really smart, well written, just like genuinely real. Silly, but on a realistic manner.
I really like the decor of their... Not to change the subject.
Yeah.
I really like the decor of their house.
Everything.
Their living room.
It was very time accurate.
Have you seen Matilda?
It reminded me of that.
It looks like the living room of Matilda when they're all watching the telly with the food on their trays.
And Matilda takes place in the 80s.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my god, it's Matilda.
Oh yeah. I love that in this movie also they point out the obvious and they make fun of themselves. Like they make fun of the Transformer movies and how ridiculous the whole concept is, but they make it like cool again by doing so because they're like John Cena has this line where he's like, I mean, their name is Decepticon.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Why are we trusting them?
It's
literally their name.
Yeah, I know. That was a great moment. That was a great moment.
I also had to say that like overall the visuals were just spectacular. And
yeah, the visuals are quite good, yeah.
It was like...
It was radical.
It was radical. And I love that kind of like line there that the kid said, radical, and then he throws up.
Yeah.
Otis.
So I think that sums up the movie in one line.
Yeah.
It was radical.
And I will also say that was totally tubular.
Oh, totally tubular.
Was the real D3D. Like that part...
Yeah, it was really...
They've really stepped up their game. The 3D with this has really changed from what I remember real D3D being back in the day. I thought it was going away.
Seen real D3D. movie.
Well, I can tell you, in the past, it wasn't this good, and every time I see Realty 3D anymore, it's spectacular.
It's actually quite subtle.
That is our spoiler-filled review.
Yes, it was radical.
It was...
So you should go see it.
Definitely go see it. Loved it. Mostly
really
positives around.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies this year, which that says a lot because it's a Transformers movie.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a lot, but it was definitely it was a great movie to see. So go see
So that's a review from me and her. I think we both give it 2 thumbs up, and letter grade wise. So the final thing we're gonna do is our fan theory. Where do we see this going? Where do we see this franchise going? There's potential for other spin-offs, like maybe an Optimus Prime movie.
Oh, yeah.
The smartest thing that they could do is start branching away from the original trilogy and start or quadrilogy, quintilogy.
Well, because there's multiple reboots,
There's
right?
been five movies total.
Films so far.
And this is the 6th if you want to include it in, but I'm not going to because I think this one needs to be a new start. Not to call it a reboot because everyone hates those, but honestly, yeah.
So this one focused on the story, which I think makes it great.
Yeah.
So go see it.
Go see it. And actually, this is the most kid-friendly, as weird as that sounds.
That's true.
It's actually the most kid-friendly, other than the Decepticons being way more evil.
Except blowing. But then it's not even like, it's not blood. They blow up into blank goo.
Yeah, but it's still evil and weird.
That's true. That's true.
This is my fan theory. What's yours?
This is my fan theory.
What's yours? Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and click that bell to be notified of future episodes. And don't forget to go check out our Patreon over at patreon.com/fantheorytv. We have all kinds of goodies, including full-length episodes of We Watch shows, as well as unaired episodes of Fan Theory, and so much more. Check it out now, guys. You'll love it.